In the 13th century, a small group of nomadic horse riders, led by a single visionary, swept across Asia and Europe, leaving a trail of devastation. They didn't just conquer lands, they reshaped the world. This is the story of how the Mongol Empire rose from the steppes of Central Asia to become the largest contiguous empire in history, and why their dramatic fall echoes through time. It all started with Genghis Khan, but was his empire destined to rise? And what caused it to ultimately collapse? Let's dive into the war that changed everything, the rise and fall of the Mongol Empire. Imagine a vast, treacherous desert filled with rough, harsh terrain, where survival is a battle in itself. This was the Mongol homeland, a place where every day was a fight for survival. From these brutal lands came one man who would change the course of history forever. Temujin, later known as Genghis Khan. Born into a broken tribe, his early life was defined by hardship, betrayal, poverty, and violence. But Temujin's vision was clear: to unite the Mongol tribes and become the supreme ruler. He wasn't just a great warrior, he was a strategist, a master of psychology, and a visionary leader. His rise wasn't just about war, it was about unifying people. By creating a system of merit over birthright, he attracted the best and the brightest from across the Mongol world. This wasn't an army of fearful followers, but loyal soldiers driven by a sense of purpose. Genghis Khan's secret weapon? Psychological warfare. His forces were not just skilled in battle, they were unpredictable, often attacking when least expected. Their speed on horseback, the strength of their bows, and their ability to adapt quickly made them nearly unstoppable. But Genghis Khan wasn't just about destruction, he was also an innovator. He reorganized trade routes across Asia, creating one of the first international postal systems, and encouraged the exchange of knowledge across his empire. By 1206, Genghis Khan had created an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea, marking the beginning of Mongol dominance. The Mongol Empire wasn't just a force of nature, it was a well-oiled machine of conquest. From the deserts of Central Asia to the great cities of China, Persia, and Russia, the Mongols crushed every opponent who stood in their way. Genghis Khan's most famous conquest? China. The Mongols were relentless in their siege of the Jin dynasty. The Mongols surrounded cities with multiple siege tactics, breaking down walls, poisoning water supplies, and using psychological terror to force cities to surrender. It was brutal, but it worked. And that was just the beginning. After Genghis Khan's death in 1227, his successors expanded the empire even further. The Mongols stormed into Eastern Europe, reaching as far as Hungary, Poland, and Russia, using their savagery to terrorize armies and cities. The famous Battle of Mohi in 1241, for example, saw the Mongols annihilate the Hungarian army in just hours, leaving no survivors. But it wasn't just bloodshed that defined the Mongols. Their empire introduced trade, communication, and cultural exchange across vast distances. The Silk Road was revitalized, bringing an influx of goods, ideas, and technologies from China, the Middle East, and Europe. The Mongols might have been feared, but their empire also created one of the most connected worlds in history. So what caused the fall of the Mongol Empire? After all, they were unstoppable at their peak. It came down to one crucial factor: division. As the empire expanded, it became increasingly difficult to manage. Genghis Khan's heirs, while skilled leaders, were not always united in their vision for the future. In the 14th century, the Mongol Empire was divided into 4 khanates, each ruled by different branches of the family. These khanates, the Yuan dynasty in China, the Il Khanate in Persia, the Golden Horde in Russia, and the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia, each operated with independent agendas. Without a single unified force, the empire began to fracture. Internal strife and infighting weakened the Mongols. This lack of unity allowed rival powers to rise up, and the once mighty Mongol forces were not as coordinated as they had once been. The Black Death in the 14th century also played a crucial role. The plague decimated populations across Asia and Europe, reducing the Mongol military's strength. Cities fell, trade routes collapsed, and the once unified Mongol world slowly disintegrated. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, And don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories from the past.